All right, guys, guess who I have here?
Kevin.
He's actually doing a sit down video with me. Can you believe it?
Wow.
So, what do you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? I want to talk about transition. Us moving from another state to here. It was definitely a big challenge for us.
So, I guess we should start at the beginning.
Yes.
So, last year we were, well, actually, it had been for a lot of years that we had been wanting to move out of San Diego. So finally, I had gotten fed up, and I was like, I need to start looking for other places to apply. Since his job, he can transition into another job easily because they'll just transfer him into it. So he zeroed in on Texas. Don't know why, because
I zeroed on Texas because many years ago she had a job opportunity to go to Texas, and I got cold feet. And
that was in 2015.
Yes.
I had a job opportunity for San Antonio, making $74,000. Okay, but it's neither here nor there. So I guess he was trying to make it up to me and come back to Texas, and we ended up in the city that we're in now. So
okay, let me get this straight. We're not in San Antonio, but we're in another part of Texas.
Yeah, we're definitely not in San Antonio. I would be smiling if I was. Anyways, so after he started applying around March of last year, so it's been like a year since this whole thing started. Cray. But he started applying around March of last year, and around June time, I applied for a VA loan for him. So we went through Veterans United, and on the 14th of June, and then on the 15th of June they approved us, and I had a real estate agent, so things were moving along like really fast for us.
Things were moving along really fast. I ended up getting a job interview and multiple job interviews.
He got a lot.
I had a lot. I was shocked, but everyone I spoke to, every interview I spoke to was like, wow, you could have done this a long time ago. Based on your resume, based on the fact that you've been at the job consistently for a good 10 years. And I had a lot of people that wanted me, a lot of places wanted me to come on board with them based on my resume and based on the fact that I was consistently at a job for a long period of time. Because most people that they've saw in their resume, they've hung around a place for 2 or 3 years max, and they're gone. But I stayed at the same place for a good 10 years, working at 2 different parts of that particular job. And but
he had a good work history, and
yes.
A lot of people were like looking out and saying, but the places that he had applied to, they were places that were really far off
Yes.
from major cities,
Yes.
and they were really, really small communities. So while I, grew up back in the day in a very small community, I think it would be so much different to do it now, try to transition into a place like that. So finally we get out, we get the dates set up because they were fighting back and forth over this man. Like San Diego was like, hey, we need more time with him. And then this place was like, hey, we need him right now.
Yes.
So we went back and forth. We needed more time because in the midst of all that, I was getting my settlement check from my accident. So we were trying to get more time so that we had the financial means to just come out here without stressing our normal finances. So we were waiting on that check, and so we were like, we needed more, like probably 2 more weeks to get everything settled because they had already cut the check, sent the check, and then it was 10 business days. So they were like, no, we need you by, I think it was the 9th of July at first.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not going to be able to go with you at this rate. So we were trying to figure out how we were going to maneuver the family, like send him out first, and then we were going to come later because we had we had used pods to put our stuff in. So that our things weren't the issue. It was actually just us and if we were going to be able to come together or not. So finally they decided on, I believe, the 23rd of July, but he was only to leave his job in San Diego on the 16th. So we had a very, very small window between leaving San Diego and coming here. So we get here by the 18th, and by the 19th we're looking at houses, and yeah, that's how fast things move. So on the 19th we chose the house we wanted, and we can go into this VA video in another time because that was a whole another situation, situation with the VA.
Yeah.
But so we get out here, and we were staying in a hotel for approximately 3 weeks. Hotel living.
Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't.
If it was me and him and the dog in the hotel,
fine.
like, we would have been straight. But we had
2 teenagers.
Teenagers, guinea pigs, dogs, us, and we didn't really get to know the area before we got out here. So we're still learning right now.
Yeah,
7 months later, we're still trying to learn and figure out things. We're still trying to get adjusted now. So we've been here a total of 7 months.
I mean, my thing is, I definitely realized that, you know, a lot of places we get here, and it's crazy getting somewhere and trying to learn it at the same time.
I wish that he had more time, like in between starting his job and ending the last job, so that we could actually like venture out and see things. And I wish that we had more time between, like while in between, like when he was getting hired or like all that stuff. I wish he had time so we could come out here and like see the place and get to know the place. And
I think that's the thing. We definitely need more time to look around to see, okay, is this a good fit, the right fit for us, and is this where we want to be? I think that's one of the biggest important things that we kind of missed out on, and we're gonna we're looking forward to doing things different next time around to make sure that, okay, let's look at this place and see, is this what our family is right for our family, and the do's and don'ts of what we want out of the environment, because that's the biggest thing. You don't want to go somewhere and not be happy where you're at, and not be in sync with your surroundings, which we're still having adjustment situations here.
Apparently we're not the only ones, though. Everyone that we have talked to that is not originally from this place, they go through the same type of transition issues, and they feel like the guy that I spoke on earlier, the resident, he was like, it was like, being on another planet.
Yes.
So he likened it to that. So, people do, have problems adjusting here.
Yeah.
I think if you were just not born and raised in this part of Texas, then it's actually difficult to transition here. But let's be clear, when we like chose this place and discussed this place, it wasn't based off of other people. It was based on what financial moves we can make here, and we just ended up having a lot of setbacks when we first got here. So right now we're trying to climb out of that. But it was basically, we moved here based on safety, based on a lot of different elements when we compared all the other places that he was hired at, and this one won out of all those places until he already got hired and we already like sent everything for here, and then there was another job opportunity. If we had held out a little bit longer, we would have been able to get to San Antonio.
Yeah, I think because I didn't realize, soon as I started applying, people were like calling like from left and right, so which was provided us opportunities that I didn't think we had until I stepped out there. And then but it's coming out here is this way, it's an eye-opening experience. And then you're learning, we're learning what we want out of our environment and what we don't want out of our environment. Just coming out here and seeing what's going on, and it's been a challenge. We came from an environment where the rules of engagement was there. We knew how to conduct ourselves. We knew we were shown by people of what to expect and how to conduct ourselves. Here it's another story, so certain things we're like, well, it wouldn't fly somewhere else, but it flies here. But it's just, I think it's all about based on what I've noticed, it's all about exposure And I think if everybody, if you have 5 people in the house and everybody, all 5 people in the house are doing the same thing, no one's gonna challenge it. No one's gonna say anything. But if you have somebody out of the 5 people, one of the people out of the house goes out somewhere else and says, "Oh wow, there's another way of doing things." That one person comes back and says, "Hey, we can do this differently." But you have everybody in the house doing the same thing, and no one's challenging it. What do you expect? And that's what I feel when I see out here. So that's it.
I think everybody just assumes that you know everything. They treat everyone as if they're a local. But even as a local, I feel like there's places that you may have never gone before, or things you may have never done before. For instance, today I went and got like a barium swallow, and a lot of information wasn't given to me prior to, and they just like were acting as if I was supposed to know. And a lot of things they come off as if you're just supposed to know, as if you were local, you were born, you were raised here. So when we have questions, they're kind of like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Do I need to fast before this? Like, what do I need to do?" So it's not even just about medical stuff; it's just anything in general. Like they just kind of treat you as if you already should know these things because you've lived here all your life. But it's pretty, apparent when I'm asking you these questions that I don't know what's going on. Please inform me, enlighten me. Like, what do I need to do next? So,
or one thing I realize is like you'll ask a question and it's not fully answered, or it's disregarded, and then they'll turn around and say something completely different, and then you got to go back to the question and say, "This is what I'm saying. Can you answer the question?" I've had a situation recently when I was even making a doctor's appointment, and I said,
a lot of this stuff is surrounded around medical, because that's what we've been dealing with.
That's what we've been doing the last several months now. And I just had a situation where I said, "Should I have phrased the question wrong, or where did the interpretation go wrong?" And the person was like, "Well, I thought it was this." And I was like, "How did that even come out? Where did you come to that conclusion? When I said this."
Teaching us a lot about how we, like, our expectations and what we want from something, like somewhere, anything, like as far as healthcare, as far as, how we deal with business, because, the ultimate goal coming out here was to start a business and, get it off the ground and then be able to launch out wherever we want to go from there. So we're learning a lot about our expectations, even as us. We would be the business owners, and we would have to know what we are willing to put out there to other people and what we're willing to give to other people. So I just feel like it's going to be a learning opportunity. We had a lot of major setbacks, but I think, good things will be coming soon, and we'll just, get on the path that we wanted. The whole reason for the move was to come up for air, and yes, currently we're drowning, but you know what I mean. You could still come up for air after drowning, because we've done it so many times. We have sunk down to the bottom of the ocean and fought our way back up to the top. So I think just like any other situation that we fought through, we could do the same here. It's just it's a little different this time. When I'm down and out, everybody's down and out. I fought long and hard to get us out of San Diego. I fought this guy right here on a regular basis. So, I just got to put that same fight into my health and everything else that's bringing me down right now, just to get us in a better position yet again, because this is not going to be our final stop. I'm not going to stay in Texas. I know that for sure.
Final spot.
Okay, we're back. The battery died again. I'm using Cumana's batteries to film on right now. Thank you, Cumana, for letting me use your batteries, because, I sucked and I didn't charge mine. So, I don't feel like Texas is the place that I'm gonna be.
At least this part of Texas.
I'm just gonna say that I felt like I was gonna be in a more country environment, like a more greenery all around me environment, and so that's what I envision in my head when I'm old and gray. I see myself with trees surrounding me, a lot of oxygen, and a lot of land. So at the rate that Texas is growing, I don't feel like it will forever be a place for us, because I think it's going to end up being like San Diego soon. Plus, I'm not going to lie, the property taxes turn me off, like all the way. They're very expensive. So I just, like, I don't see myself paying these outrageous property taxes either. Like, yes, the cost of living is cheaper, but when you factor in those property taxes, child, no. Okay, no. I'm doing the same thing. So I just...
At the end of the year.
Yeah, well, we do it monthly. We have it, come off the mortgage, but we have not started with the new mortgage amount. So yeah, let that be known. I don't know. Maybe he feels more hopeful and optimistic about some other part of Texas, but I just really, my sights were on North Carolina since 2016. So I thought if he was gonna apply anywhere, he was gonna apply in North Carolina.
I still can.
But it's fine. Like whatever, as long as we're all together as a family, even if we're not married, it's fine.
Wow.
So.
She don't understand. I still can't apply. Still, you know.
Oh no, I understand that.
I've been at this new job. This not even new job anymore, but I've been here for almost 7 months. It's going on a year now. So, and time is flying.
It is flying. It has gone by pretty fast for us, and you know, you don't even realize it until you're like, oh my gosh, we almost been in the house for a year.
Yeah.
So then that's when you start, or the summer's coming up, and that's when we got out here. Long, like, story short, the transition here was pretty hard because we didn't really know the area. We didn't take the time to get to know the area, and it wasn't.
Quite a few people that asked me, like, have you been there before? Have you visited there? Who do you know there? Before I even got here, people asked that question, and also people did tell me, because I was hesitant about things, and they said, listen, you don't have to be trapped where you're at. You can always move on. Just remember, you're never stuck where you're at.
I think it definitely will help us, you know, get to another level. But it's just been hard because I'm not at the same capacity as I was before, and he's not at the same capacity as he was before. Me, I'm okay with not, you know, having people around me, because I've had people around me my whole life, and it really just sucked for the most part. I didn't like half the people that I dealt with. I wonder if y'all could hear this wind. It's not wild, but so I let it be known before we got here that I wasn't even tripping off of the people aspect of where we're at. I was just trying to get the financial part together. So that's what I was worried about. All of a sudden though, he became more people focused. Like, that stuff started bothering him a lot more, and I started becoming the one that was more like, whatever about it. So I think we swapped in some way, but for the past 20 years that I've been with this man, he has not had a singular like homie that he kicked it with on a regular basis, and he didn't have those types of relationships. So, you know, I thought it would be this would be no different, you know, coming out here, like, but maybe he just got used to being around my people and my friends, and you know what I mean, having that side. Even if he didn't really mess with them on that level, it was still someone around.
My thing was, I think, you know, she fought so hard to get us here, and then.
But I even said before we got here that
she wasn't about the people. She already said, she's like, I'm about the economics and getting us ahead.
I also said I wasn't going to be staying here.
No.
I also let it be known before I even got a house, before anything happened, that this was not my final stop. So it wasn't. The situation was already laid out beforehand. I already knew in my head that this was not my last stop, and so. I wasn't really tripping off of anything else. I was like, I'm here to get myself together and get our family together and put us in a better position, and that was my ultimate goal, you know, coming here. Nothing else really mattered, because I did the friend thing already, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And I did it for a very long time, and it was just very exhausting. So I'm good off of that part. But if he wants friends, I want him to have friends. That'd be cool. See what he would be like with other people other than me. I don't even know what that interaction is like for him to have people around him other than me. You know, like even when I see him with family and stuff like that, I don't know.
I'm a very introverted person, so that's just me.
As far as transitioning goes, our tips are: make sure that, first of all, you research the place that you want to live. Make sure that you find out, if you have children, about schools, crime rates, all that kind of stuff. Economics, Area Vibes is a good place. It breaks down all that stuff to amenities, anything that you would like to know, what's around you, your nearest city. It lets you know their scores, walking scores, driving scores, everything. So you could find all that out. They also have those same type of situations on Zillow when you're looking at houses. They let you know about the same type of situations about high schools, their ratings, their numbers, elementary schools, because you don't want to be in areas where their school ratings are awful. Let me tell you, that's like the biggest thing for me was the neighborhood and knowing what the school rating was. So make sure you do your research on the place that you're gonna come. And we did do our research as far as schools, stuff like that, and we knew. And also we also found out like that if there was a program that my son wanted that wasn't offered in his school district, he's allowed to switch around, which I really like that, because you know, even in San Diego I did move my kids' school districts when I wasn't happy with something. So education was a big part of it. And also knowing, like, you know, if you can get a job or what their job scores are, what their neighborhood scores are, all that stuff is important. So make sure that you do research the place. The next thing you should do is probably come out and actually see the place. I personally feel like when you're coming out and visiting a place, it's definitely different than actually living someplace. Like, I could go and have the best time in San Diego, but financially I would have been drowning, you know what I mean? So I could love being out there, everything about there, because their amenities are on point, everything is in walking distance, and like, it's really good to be out there. You know, they have a lot to offer out there, but as far as the pay doesn't match how much it costs out there. So I eventually would have not liked it if I had come from here and gone there. You see what I'm saying? So you definitely want to do your research as far as that, cost of living. Make sure that it's everything that you're doing is within your means, within your budget. So that would be another point. Do you have anything?
Make sure the healthcare is on point too.
Oh my goodness, that's something that I overlooked, and I'm paying the price now. We didn't know much about any other healthcare. We had military, we came from our parents to military to Kaiser. So that was our 3 experiences with insurance. And so now we're learning about a different aspect of insurance, because Kaiser, you just go, you already know your copays. You're not going in there and they're like, surprise, this is how much it is. Like, now every time we go, they're like, oh, well, when you go to urgent care, it's $35, but surprise, when you get there, it's $52. You know what I mean? I don't know how that works, but that's how it works. Definitely look into that stuff before you get here, because that's something we did very much overlook. And it did cost us a lot. As I mentioned in another vlog, when I was talking about our finances, we got a really expensive insurance plan and it set us back. And so, yeah. And
it took us a while to switch it up.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand getting here. I came out here, I made a mistake choosing the insurance plan. They were like, oops, you know, you maxed out on your time and you waited too long to change it up. So you have to wait X amount of months out. Did that. And the damage was done, and I had to.
We're still
paying for it, and I had to tell them, hey, you know, I didn't come out here to be financially set back. You know, I took a pay cut even coming to this place. Yeah. So I explained that to even where, you know, and like, oh, you know, I wish you would have came to me. I wish you would have talked to me first, and I would have broken things down to you better. And it's like, you know, it's kind of, you know, the damage is done now.
I mean, we just got to work on stuff like that. But yeah, definitely look into healthcare plans when you guys are coming out, because that stuff is important. Car insurances, because we had found out that when we left California in our State Farm, when we came here, the State Farm insurance went up 2 times the amount that we were going to pay. So car insurance is important as well. Make sure that, you know, you can either keep your plan the same, and if you have to change, then make sure like the prices are not going to be outrageous, because we were going from like $123 to $300 and something for insurance per month. Okay,
for one car.
Yeah, one car.
It was crazy. And then the explanation that was given to me was they're basing things on, even though we're in another part of Texas, they're basing things on a region on how many accidents happen regionally, and it's affecting the premiums and the insurance rates.
Which is wild, because I know California drivers and should be wild over there, so I don't believe it. But
yeah, it's just outrageous. And I was like, why am I? If I'm already paying a car payment and paying insurance on, that's crazy.
Your car payment, the insurance was going to be more than the car payment, which was
that doesn't make sense.
Really crazy. So make sure you look into stuff like that as well. If you're going to buy a property, look into their property taxes and see if that's if you're about that life, paying these high property taxes. Like New Mexico, they don't have a lot of property taxes, and they just legalized weed. So, but yeah, look into the legalization of weed as well. Okay, look into it. But yeah, look into like what programs you can have for your kids. My kids tried volunteering out here and went to the left, and my son is all about volunteering, so it turned him off. And the volunteers opportunities out here are scarce, so you know it's crazy for his age group. I should say it's scarce. Yeah. When he turns 18, by the time he don't give a F about it, then he'll be able to have more opportunities to volunteer. But right now, as a 16-year-old, he doesn't get a lot of opportunities, because I thought it would be cool for him to volunteer at the zoo, and he was all for it, and then we found out he had to be 18, but why? So I mean, whatever you guys' interests are as well, make sure they have those things wherever you're gonna go, because you don't want to be stuck somewhere where you're like, hey, I used to go to the beach every day, and now you're in the desert. So make sure that you check into those things as well. And that is just a little tidbit from the Swears. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate and love each and every one of you, and we will see you in the next video.
Peace.